Type design is taught in many countries, but is the approach the same in all of them? Do we have the same resources, processes, inspiration to learn and teach type design? Probably not. When it comes to teach and learn, other opinions, experiences, and perspectives can be useful and enriching. My name is Ana Michelle. I'm a graphic designer from Bolivia, and I'm grateful to have the chance to share with you my experience in learning and teaching type design in my country. In order to get in context, I would like to point some things about Bolivia. We are a country located in the middle, right in the heart of South America. I was an exchange student once, and some people told me they thought Bolivia was in Africa, so I need to make this clear, just in case. Although the predominant language is Spanish, there are other 37 official languages. The country's population is around 11 million. We Bolivians live in the most diverse geography you could imagine, from high peaks of the Andes through lowlands, valleys, and humid, warm Amazon land. We don't have a way out to the sea. We are a landlocked country, but I like to think that in compensation, we have the biggest treasure in our rich biodiversity. Our complex cultural diversity is something to be proud of, and unfortunately, sometimes it has been one of our biggest problems as a society. And of course, type design we have here reflects that explosion of colors, shapes, techniques, but above all, of a lot of this identity and handcraft work. Immersed in this land of extreme variations, there's us, the graphic designers, teachers, and the graphic design students. If you want to study graphic design in Bolivia, you can access to a college degree in 10 universities, and there are also many other training institutes which offer a technical degree in it. Only 3 universities out of these 10 have within their curricula a specific class dedicated to type design. Most of them superficially teach the use of typography, therefore they limit its use to the application of editorial and publishing projects. When I studied graphic design, I hardly had any training on typography, so basically we use it in our designs just as a complement. We didn't really study it as a separate and complex and deep field as it is. I started working as a junior graphic designer right after graduation. This is one of my first works. I work in this small ad agency. And since then, I never stopped working on graphic design. I went through many agencies and editorial houses in different cities around Bolivia. And my vision of the letters was always the same. They were just a piece of the puzzle that I had to add to a composition. So it wasn't until 2015 I noticed that there was something else going on with the shapes of the letters. One good day, as many stories begin, I accidentally made my first handmade lettering work. I was waiting for my son to finish his swimming class. I was at the Pulse cafeteria, and the lady running it had the blackboard with this on the wall with these letters. I had some extra time until the class finished, so I asked the lady if she had check. I would be happy to fix the board and make some drawings on it. She said she couldn't pay me, and I said there was no need. The truth is, it was hurting. It hurt my eyes, so I needed to fix it. The obsessive me. So the lady agreed, and I did some sketching on my notebook first, just using my own handwriting. Added some weights to it, and went back and forward to see if the words were readable enough, and if it could be read from different distances and angles, just basic things. And you can see the result here, a bit cleaner, no grammar mistakes. I corrected some letters, and hopefully a little more attractive. The lady was really grateful. She invited me a coffee and a donut, and I was happy for that. And also because I was listening to some customers' comments, like they would say things like, we now know what you are offering, we didn't know you had juice, and everything looked more tidy for many of them. So definitely the way the letters were drawn was affecting the message in a positive way. And I had been working many years on design without consciously realizing that fact. So this is the before and after. So basically my journey as a self-taught type designer started right there. As a designer, I felt like I needed to explore more about type design. I had all the resources, the motivation. I had a good and stable Wi-Fi connection, so I really had no excuse to go for it. All I needed was to find the will to do it and some extra time working hours for that. So most of the work I started doing was unpaid. Somewhere in exchange of services, I had cookies, coffee, milk, even Pilates classes, and other goodies as payment. But most of the meaningful reward for me was to practice, and was the practice I was getting thanks to these non-demanding clients. I truly believe that practice means progress, so that's the fact in sports, any discipline, so it had to be the same with type design. And every support was good for lettering forms, and the rule was simply the experimentation. There were no accessible courses back then, so there was a lot to learn from tutorials, online courses, calligraphy tutorials, vector drawing, so everything was right there. And I started, of course, diving into the social media ocean to follow and learn from the greatest sharks of leather construction. So after uncountable small store blackbirds and many other formats, somehow you get the confidence in what you do. And you say yes to everything, at least I do. So because of the lack of formal specialization in those fields, many training centers started to appear in Bolivia due to the demand, and they offered short workshops about specific design fields. A friend of mine was in charge in one of them, and she invited me to give a lettering workshop, so I accepted. I had never taught before, but how could it be, right? So my ego betrayed me again, and I announced the workshop as a lettering and calligraphy workshop. These are some of the pictures. Two of my students were fine educated ladies experts in Palmer calligraphy. I was nothing compared to them, of course, but somehow I managed to finish the sessions with my head up high and still looking like the teacher. But that day I realized how much I liked to teach and how much I needed to prepare myself to actually be a proper teacher. So I went back to school, found a master's degree in higher education that I could pay in installments, and went back to being a student and kept on giving workshops. And in all of them, I found really eager students, eager to learn about calligraphy, type design in general, and they were self-learners, just like me. I like to think they learned something from me, but I'm sure that teaching is the best way of learning. Some students are always ahead, so you need to be prepared to respond properly to them, and that's the best way of learning. So I kept on giving workshops, invested more time in books, a little more in professional online courses, of course, and materials as well, and participating in all these challenges and personal projects. They always give you a good way to experiment even more. And illustration techniques is something that I'm really passionate about. So I did some lettering experimentation as well, trying to complement those knowledges. So last year, when we all had a normal life, I applied to enroll to Typography program. My sister was living in Paris then, so I had some savings worth to invest. So I had to give it a try. Looks like the practice I had paid off, because I was able to build a portfolio good enough to be accepted on the program. And it was definitely a life-changing experience in so many ways. I had this idea, I'm going to Disney. I had this idea in my mind, but this was the only Paris I knew for 5 weeks. My idea of typography took a complete turn. I would have never imagined how hard it was to design a whole typography project. I heard once that you either love it or hate it, and I fell stupidly in love with it right away. The classes were insanely demanding. We had few hours of sleep, many rules, processes to follow, and this constant feeling of being stressed by something that you actually love doing. It was amazing to work and struggle together with other designers, great people from all over the world. I learned a whole new universe from amazing teachers, but yet I feel like there was still more to learn. After those intense weeks, I delivered La Aretia, a type system designed for a nursery plant service or any other organic related fields. It was developed for display and text applications as well as branding, social media, packaging purposes. The letter forms try to show more fancy and organic shapes under certain formal structure of type design construction, as it demands. And don't worry, we had time to be tourist and party afterwards. So, coming back, this is where the really interesting things begin to happen. I came back hyperventilated with the idea of designing more and teaching again, but with a different approach to both of them, of course. My design process is more elaborated now, different timing, more inputs and investigation. I ask for feedback a lot. I think it's the only way I see the results I seek. Back to teaching, amazingly, the university where I studied graphic design was changing the study plan. And they included an exclusive class for typography. And they called me to be the professor, yes. They gave me total freedom to develop the syllabus, which was great. I included some basics of calligraphy, just enough for the students to understand and set the essential foundations to start their projects. Cola pen and other recycled materials have been our greatest allies in these experimentations, since some calligraphy tools are not easy to find here or are way too expensive. We go through lettering basics as well. There's a lot of sketching, especially now since the COVID situation limit us to go to the computer labs of the university. As a result, many students have more profound understanding of typography and how to use it. They see the powerful tool they have now, and they feel able to design their own letters, expand their skills, and as designers, level up any design project as well. At the beginning of this year, we delivered some interesting projects of basic but complete typography systems using Libs. We dedicate many hours working on the details and observational skills. Each student decides the kind of project they want to develop. But lately we are working on projects of lettering and typography that somehow feel more Bolivian. The attempt is to teach typography through Bolivia's cultural diversity and identity. As many other South American countries, our daily life is a mix of these music, colors, shapes, and cultures, and all of this colorful mess is a great source of inspiration. This is an example of couple of students that worked this lettering project from the Hablada dance from here. Most of these projects are, of course, still in progress, but they will give you an idea of what we are trying to achieve. This is a work of Santiago Salas. He's working inspired by the shapes of the monolito, Tiahuanaco sculpture. So we start with a mood board of national references, whether it's architecture, biodiversity, or any cultural aspect, of course, and also vernacular signs. We want to revalue the expressive charge existing in those Bolivian signs. This is a project from Rodrigo. He's working on the shapes of vicuña, this sweet animal here. And most of the letters, the signs we have here, are handcrafted, painted, or cut. So there's a story behind all these signs that we see every day on the streets. How they were made, the tools they were used, and the way the tool was used also. So we analyze all these aspects in order to achieve this sense of the reference. Crafted work is essential in our country, so it shouldn't be diminished in our designs. The ultimate goal I would like to accomplish with my future colleagues is that they feel they are growing where they were planted. This is an example of Luciana, also based on the chalets, this kind of buildings we have here. This is the project in process. So this is another example of the micros, the Bolivian buses, based on the shapes that they have. So we're not a country well known for being design experts. We are the new ones here, and we don't have much heritage in history design, but we are a country that keeps some sense of authenticity and that can give a fresh view to type design in the world. This is not only my story. I know many Bolivian designers that had gone through similar journeys. Despite all the difficulties, limitations we face in this developing country, we are really motivated, and we always find a way to keep learning and teaching because we believe in our talent. Thank you so much for watching.